All right, cool. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the final episode of the Catching Up podcast, season 4.
Yeah, I almost forgot the season.
Season 4? Question mark. My name's Tyler,
My name's Gabriel.
and we're excited to have you back here for this last episode. So let's go ahead and cue that intro for the last time this season.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start.
And here's the intro because this is getting weird.
I like this thing. This thing is thick.
It's
on top.
fluffy.
Honestly, bro, these things are so good. To let your actions of being a Christian speak louder than your words. So
If we can't control that ourselves, then it's like, who can? God can.
Catching Up podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up.
I don't necessarily know what that means. I never actually know if Gabe ends up doing any cool transitions with those, but...
Because he doesn't watch the episodes.
All right, listen.
Yeah, you just outed yourself,
so
big
here's
boy.
the way I approach it. I do an end of season watch, and I binge it. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Could you imagine? Do you think there's anybody that binges a podcast season? That'd be I guess unless you're on a car ride, that would kind of make sense. But.
I mean, when I found a new podcast, like Ninjas Are Butterflies, like my favorite podcast, and when I found them for the first time, like that's all I listened to. Like they're at like 100 and something episodes,
Right.
and yeah, I'm caught
He
up.
said
now,
I watched
so now I have to wait.
97.
No, I watched all of them. I'm
Wow,
like
that's
to the
crazy.
point where I'm like, should I buy their Patreon just so I have more episodes to listen to?
Yeah. Man, that's hey, it's a great spot to be in. But anyways, today's review is going to be a interesting one because this is something that I've never had before. It's something I haven't had in a long time. So anyways, I'll set that up. That didn't really make sense. But anyways, we're doing Chick-fil-A's Peppermint Frosted Coffee. The reason, okay, number one, I said I haven't had it before is because I've never had frozen coffee from Chick-fil-A. But the reason I said I haven't had it in a long time is because I've had frozen coffee, like a frappe from McDonald's or Starbucks or wherever. But that was like, I don't know when the last time I had one of those is. So anyways, I didn't even know that Chick-fil-A had a peppermint one. But yeah, so we're doing the peppermint frosted coffee.
Yeah.
What about you, Gabe? Have you ever had the frosted coffee before?
I've had Chick-fil-A's frosted coffee. I've never had their peppermint one, and
Okay.
I was so excited. And I'm not gonna lie, smelling it, I feel like they might have put too much peppermint, or it's the peppermint I don't like. So I'm a little scared.
All right, well, let's see. Cheers to the
Cheers.
last time this season. Hey, you know what's
Cheers.
crazy? We're recording this on the last day of the year, too. Cheers.
Yeah, you're right. Happy New Year.
Okay. It's good. I'm just conflicted because it almost tastes like a milkshake.
Yeah, it does.
It tastes almost like a legit, like a peppermint milkshake with like, you know, a hint of coffee infused in there.
I feel like it tastes more chocolatey than anything.
It does.
Right.
It does taste chocolatey.
I think this is it's peppermint chip, so there's chocolate chip in it.
I mean, listen. In my opinion, it's really good. It is very pepperminty. Like, I honestly feel like I just ate one of those little chocolates they give you at Olive Garden after the meal.
Yeah.
You know, the green and chocolate one. Like, I feel like I just ate one of those. So, like, the peppermint is pretty strong. The chocolate does balance it out well. I guess the only thing I'm not really getting is the coffee, funny enough,
Yeah.
for a frosted coffee. So I'd be curious to taste just the regular frosted coffee to see, like, what they're adding in here to, like, you know, obviously give it the chocolate and the peppermint. But I really like it. I honestly think I'd get it again. I don't think I'd get it for coffee purposes. I'd get it for flavor and, like, as a sweet treat. Like, if I'm going there to get a meal, I would consider getting this as, like, instead of a milkshake. Because it kind of tastes like the same thing. But I'll go ahead and give it I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I actually like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, bro. I agree. It is a lot of peppermint. It's almost like you said, the little patties, or
Yeah.
your peppermint patty or whatever. But it's better than I thought it was gonna be. But like you said, I honestly drinking it. I kind of forgot it was frozen coffee. It doesn't taste like coffee, almost at all. The chocolate's very overbearing, and the peppermint's very prominent. So it's really good. But did you rate it?
Yeah, it went 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I feel like I wanted to give it an 8, but like I feel like I would pick the regular coffee over it. So I'm gonna go down to like a 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you're probably a little bit lower than me because I just don't feel like you. I don't know. I enjoy it, but again, it's I enjoy it more in like the sweet treat sense. You know, if I was
Yeah.
rating it as a coffee, it'd probably be a way lower score. But I'm just
Yeah.
kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt. Like, you know, if you're getting a peppermint frosted coffee, what are you expecting? You know, you know. What I
Well,
mean?
the thing is, I just did the hot chocolate flight at Disney Springs like the other week, and they had one of them is a peppermint hot chocolate. So it was like it kind of tastes the same.
That
And I'm
yeah,
like,
actually yeah, it's like a frozen hot chocolate with peppermint.
yeah, but it's not coffee.
Honestly, if they marketed it as that, that would probably be like a 10 out of 10. I'm docking
Yeah.
them a little bit for the coffee for sure. But the flavor is there. So if you like peppermint hot chocolate with a little bit of coffee flavoring, like you will like this. So definitely if you haven't tried it, try it out. I didn't even know they had this until yesterday when I was like looking it up. And so I think it's a cool little find.
When I was looking up sweet treats on Google,
What is the newest sweet treat that I can shove down my face?
down your face.
Okay, down my throat.
All right, well, I think this will be a good time to go into our main topic tonight.
Tonight.
Tyler, tonight, this morning, this afternoon.
I'm going to set it up. I'm just grabbing that.
So, yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
So basically, we figured for our last topic this season, it could be cool to kind of give some sort of insight or, you know, just a different angle of a way to approach, you know, the Word of God or the Bible. And this is going to be from a perspective of like how you can read this, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a non-Christian, you don't believe, whatever. Like this is a book that anybody can read and take something from and learn from and gain wisdom from, even if it's not applying it to your life, again, in a spiritual sense, and more so just a sense of like different situations and how to overcome them and different, you know, areas of your life that may need work, that you may be struggling in, that you may need help in. There's so many good, you know, verses and things like that inside of this word that you can take and just apply to your life. And again, this could have nothing to do with any sort of religious background. This is just, hey, I'm seeking help, I'm seeking advice, I'm seeking wisdom, and this is somewhere that you can turn, as opposed to like going and getting a Tony Robbins book or whatever, which I'm sure is great as well, you know. But we're just kind of trying to approach it from this angle to kind of, you know, show people that like you can also read it even if you're not a Christian. And again, who knows, maybe by reading the Word of God, you start out not a Christian, you read a little bit of it, you get some help from it, you gain some insights and wisdom, and then who knows where that leads you on your journey with God, right? So, yeah, we just figured we dive into that a little bit.
I mean, you want to keep going since you're already at it?
I mean, if you want me to, I can. So, you know, I think it's just, again, for somebody who's been a Christian for around like the past 2 years now or so, reading the Bible, I can, you know, see how much it's changed my life, my perspective, my outlook. And again, that's me entering it as a Christian, right? But pulling, you know, the bigger scale of that, of how I can apply things to my life, of how I can lean on this book to help me, you know, understand and go through things. And I think there's just so many different lessons that you can go into. I mean, if you look at the book of Proverbs, you could literally go through Proverbs once a day. And it's basically, you know, if you want to like simplify it, they're quotes, they're motivational quotes to help you get through things, to help you, you know, seek wisdom through things. And you could literally just do a daily quote reading out of the Proverbs, and I guarantee you it would help you in some way, shape, or form. You know, but I think one of the biggest things is just reading the Bible and the different stories in it and being able to see the situations that the people are going through and actually understand them and see how they can apply to your lives. Because I get that, like, this is a book from 2,000 years ago, right? There are people that are probably like, oh, I could never relate to this. There aren't things that, like, why would I want to read something that's so old? And there's so many little nuggets within these stories that every single person can apply. Again, there's different situations, but like, for example, you have King Saul, who basically the lesson within that is that insecurity destroys leadership. And then you have Samson, who will show you that raw talent without discipline, it basically just ruins all of your potential, right? You could be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't have discipline, if you don't have that work ethic behind your day-to-day work, it's never going to work. Your potential is going to be wasted. And we see so much of that in society, especially today, with how phones and social media overtake our lives. There are so many people that have talent who could be out here doing these things, but we let our phones and our addictions cripple us. And then you have David, who shows that, success doesn't necessarily fix your character flaws, right? Like you can be the most successful person in the world, but does that mean that you are living a good life? Does that mean that you are, leading by example? Does that mean that you're treating people equally, treating people the way that you'd want to be treated? Does that mean that you are helping others when you can, or are you being selfish in every sense to continue to rise your success, And then you have Solomon, who can show that intelligence without restraint just self-destructs, right? Like you can be, again, going back to like all these examples, it's just giving different examples of different traits in people that a lot of people will latch onto and think this is all I need and I got it and I'm at my way to the top, right? Whether that's with money, whether that's with intelligence, whether that's with success, and it's just showing that you can have this thing, but if you don't have these other things, it's just gonna blow up in your face because there's so many different things inside of us, and if we just focus on one and only use one of it, typically it is very lopsided in how the outcome is. In that, yeah, you may be very successful, but you may have no relationships. Yeah, you may be very smart, but you may have not been the most kind to people around you, and so there are all these little different things in there. And those are just little examples, but there are so many, there are so many different stories and verses. And even if you look in the Gospels and look at Jesus's teachings, again, even if you don't believe him to be the Son of God, there's so many amazing teachings of how to just be present, of how to get over, your anxiety and depression, and how to trust in and to stop chasing money, to trust in other things, to not continue to seek, I'm seeking fame, I'm seeking power, I'm seeking money. You're going to realize that like none of that really matters once you get to it, And so it's just all these little nuggets that if you read them, and you can even pick a story or just pick a chapter, and you can look it up on the internet. The internet is a beautiful place sometimes, and it has a lot of good resources. So if you're going through, hey, what's a good Bible story to overcome insecurity? What's a good Bible story to overcome fear? What's a good Bible story to overcome depression? I guarantee you there's going to be multiple that pop up. And then you pick one and read it, go through it, and see how you can apply it to your life. See what little things you can take out of it to apply to the situation that you're going through. And I genuinely believe that will always be the case, and that will never change. And this is, obviously to me the most important book ever. And, obviously that comes with, my religious background, but also at the same time, like I really do think that like anybody can read this at any time and gain from it. So that's my perspective.
Well said. Dude, sorry, this beanbag is unfluffing.
I know, mine too, bro. End of season fluffs.
I'm about to be flat by the end of this episode. No, that's well said. I think the Bible has so many. So people like kind of sleep on it. They let the like religious part of it and like the negative opinions that people have on it like dictate what the whole book has to say, and it's just not true. There's a lot of things that anyone can get out from the Bible, because at the end of the day, it's really just teaching you how to be a good person. Sure, there's things that you might not be able to agree with, or some things you might not get, or it might not land, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone learns the same lesson from the same place. But I did like how you were saying how for you to look at stories specifically, because at the end of the day, like, people are like, oh, it's just stories. Like, the Bible's just stories. I'm like, yeah, but there's stories that, like, one shaped the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's influenced culture. It's influenced our government.
Yeah.
It's influenced, like, that's like what the United States is technically built on. You know, so it's like those are very influential stories with a lot of meaning behind them. So just like a couple things, because I was looking up some things that were a little more relatable nowadays, and I figured the top two that people I feel like don't are starting to lose touch with are compassion and forgiveness. And like you were saying, like, you look up stories. So I looked up. I was like, what's a good story for compassion? Just as an example, for someone that has never done it before, and it brings up the Good Samaritan. So it's like Luke chapter 10, and it's like, that's a great story. That I want you to go read it. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but it's literally just gonna tell you, like, when you're not when you're religious, you get one point out of it, and when you're not religious, you can always get a different point out of it.
Yeah.
And it just teaches you how to, like, not focus on people's labels, and like just treating people as other humans. And it's just like, I feel like with society, and especially with social media nowadays, like, compassion is like not a thing anymore. Like, you do one little mess up and it's like the whole world like forgets like, people treat you lesser than thou. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone acts like they're holier than thou, and it's like, you don't know how detrimental things like your words are to people. So it's like, that story goes to show how just a little act of compassion can go a long way for someone, because you don't know what their struggles are. You don't know what they're going through, just like how they don't know what you're going through and what you're struggling with. So just remembering that we're all humans, like, that's, I don't know, that's like, I could go on all day about just that. Yeah. And then another one was just forgiveness, because I feel like with this cancel culture type, we're like so quick to be like, oh, but don't remember that one time that they did this one thing 46 years ago. We should still hate them. Like, I feel like that's how our culture is nowadays with social media, and being able to look like social media stock and find things from when they were like 5,
Yeah.
And then it brings up the prodigal son, which is an amazing story as well, about just like forgiving and, giving second chances. And it's like remembering that forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's just, and it's not like pretending like someone didn't mess up. Like, it's just forgiveness. You know what I mean? And people don't realize that holding on to bitterness and not forgiving people puts a toll on you as well. So it's like how forgiveness is not only good for the other person, but it's good for you as well. Forgiveness is actually more of a you thing than it is for the other person. Yes, are they going to feel better? Are they going to, maybe have a better sleep better at night because you forgave them? Sure, yeah, but you're the one carrying the burden of not forgiving. And it's like, there's a bunch of stories with that. And then it's like, for struggles, you got Job, like the story of Job. Boy literally lost everything. Like, that is the craziest story ever. Like, he literally lost everything and still like finding how to be grateful and joyous and praising the Lord although he's losing everything. Like, it's so amazing on all these stories and like what you can get out of it. And like, when you start applying those things to your life, not even religiously, just like what I was saying, like treating your neighbor as yourself, like, that's a great key value for everyone to carry. It doesn't matter who, what, where, when you are, you know what I mean, what you think. That's always a good thing, because we're all humans. So it's like, at the end of the day, the worst you have to lose reading the Bible or giving it a shot is learning a couple good, valuable life lessons. That's it. That's like the
absolutely.
worst that's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like you can also like read it and make the decision to not take anything away from it, and then you just move on. But I think like a lot of people don't even give it a thought to even look at it in that sense. And because I feel like a lot of people, including me, until I came to Christianity, like, I didn't see any sense in picking it up. I didn't see any sense in reading it, because I was just like, whatever, But I think like it is a really important thing, again, as for us Christians to do, to just help people see the other perspective and the other side of it, and even, one last little thing before we like move on is just that there's this pastor talking that I saw a clip from, and he was even saying how like, he was obviously speaking to Christians at a service, but basically I think these stories can really apply because it's like when it's talking about when Peter, had to when Peter got out of the boat to walk on water with Jesus, he had to get out of the boat, even though it didn't make sense, right? Like he obviously he's seeing Jesus on water, but he's come to know who Jesus is. And, obviously his trust still isn't there, but he had to be the one to get out and make that leap, right? David running towards Goliath. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't make any sense, right? But he had to do it. And he had to overcome that fear and that anxiety and whatever else was hindering him and whatever else may have, been hindering Peter. They had to get over those lumps and they had to just trust and they had to just go. And that's the thing is like sometimes people who maybe want to chase a dream or are passionate about something, but they're scared to do it because what others may think of them. It's like you can't let all that noise distract you. You can't let all that fear and anxiety hinder you. You have to just trust and take the leap of faith. And again, if it doesn't work out, then you'll find out. You can move on to something else. But those are two big examples of stories in the Bible just showing you that like you have to take the jump. You have to be the one. Even if you're a believer, God's not going to make you make that jump. You still have to do it by yourself. And so that goes for all different scenarios, whether that be in like needing to have a conversation with somebody or again, chasing your dreams or wanting to, level up at your job and you're scared to have a conversation with your bosses. Like there are so many little situations that if you just take the bigger picture of what's happening in that story and directly apply it to your life, it can fit in so well, And so, yeah, if you've never given a shot, again, I would just highly recommend, for this purpose, just go to Proverbs and literally read a proverb a day and, see how you feel from that. And let us know below. I mean, I would love to hear any outside perspective or, thoughts or insights. So,
yeah. Just to add, and then we'll move on. I like the approach of the stories, though. Like truthfully, like from an outside perspective, I can see how you're just like, at the end of the day, the Bible is a book of books. Like it's a collection of books and it's a collection of stories. So when you take that approach and then like you look up that, like I feel like that's a lot more useful because growing up as a Christian, looking at it from a different perspective, I would look up like, depressed verses about depression.
Yeah, of course.
Verses about this, verses about loneliness, verses about the, and it would be like a couple sentences and then I'd be like, oh great, I think. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like when you ask for the story, you actually get the full picture of where that verse came into play. And it's a lot more effective. And
I definitely think that's the more effective route.
So if you're going to go look up your specific situation or, pardon me, whatever you're looking up, look up stories. Like that, changing stories to changing verses from stories, 2 stories. Wow, I can't speak today. 2 stories. It's a game changer. Seriously.
Yeah. Also, quick side note: as this thing melts, it's not that good.
Yeah.
Like it's still decent, but it tasted way better when it was icy.
All right, so 6.5 and 7.5.
Yeah, the melted review.
But now that we were already talking about compassion, forgiveness, and treating others as humans, let's talk about a controversial thing about an influencer streamer dude. Tyler, take the stage because you brought it up. You want to talk about Mr.
Is it Cenat? How do you say his last name?
I think it's Cenat.
Cenat, okay. Because I remember, dude, this is one of the funniest memes ever. When Kanye West was going on one of his rants, and he said something about Kai Cent, and Kai was reacting to it. He's like, Kai Cent. He was like so tight about it. It was so funny. Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to bring this topic up because recently Kai Cenat came out and he's like speaking about his mental health and some issues he's been going through, and I really just wanted to more so speak upon the reaction of social media and people, commenting in on this. I want to preface this by saying that, like, listen, I don't know. I don't watch Kai like that. I see clips of him. I obviously see stuff on like, different news pages when he does a streamathon or whatever it is. But like, I'm not sitting there watching a Kai Cenat stream. Like, I'm not some big fan of Kai's. I think, from everything I've seen, like, he seems like a good dude, but like, I don't really know his stuff like that. I don't watch his content. So like, that being said, I don't know if this is a ploy for, engagement. I don't know if this is, him thinking he could use this to his advantage. I don't really know. My thing is looking at this situation as a whole, because I think it's a huge problem we have in society still, and just kind of extrapolating what we can from like the reaction to the situation, not necessarily anything in depth, because who knows? Maybe he's done this before and it was all for views. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I don't know the inner working details. So like give me grace there. But, he came out speaking, Kai Cenat came out speaking about how he's going through, mental health problems, and he's struggling with, thoughts and things like that. And obviously, as we just saw in recent news too, him and his girlfriend just broke up. So I'm sure he's going through a lot with that. Whether or not it was a clean breakup, whether or not it was a bad breakup, like those always still hurt regardless. And so, I think that could be playing part of this too. But, the reaction that we've seen from social media, which is, there are some people that are compassionate and trying to offer, their help and support. But most of the reaction was, kind of bashing him and being like, oh, well, why don't you just give me all your money? Oh, well, you're a streamer, like you're choosing to live this lifestyle. Like, oh, well, I can't believe it's always the rich people complaining. And like, I'm just giving different examples. But like, and listen, while there may be some validity to some of these comments in the sense of like, yeah, Kai is somebody who's choosing to be in the spotlight. This is his job. This is his work. This is something that he's cultivated and created. And he knew what this would become in terms of, if the mental health struggles are coming from the fame, coming from the fans, or coming from the expectations, like all these different things, like he put himself in this situation, and anybody who's an influencer does, right? But I just think the fact that like instead of people trying to come together and maybe show some support, or maybe give some constructive criticism, or maybe try to help the guy out and give him some advice, people are just bashing him, being like, oh, I don't feel for you, this and that, like you chose this, or you have all this money, just go, people. I think the main point that I took away is that people think that money can literally solve everything. And trust me, as somebody who lives in LA, somebody who's trying to make it as an actor, I understand what it's like to not have money. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. I got a roof over my head. I got a car. Like, I'm not saying that I've, ever had to live in my car or anything, thank the Lord. But like, I do know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I do know what it's like to, be like, oh man, like it's cutting it close this month. Maybe like take some money out of the grocery bill, or maybe take some money out of this, because I just don't have it that month, right? And so as somebody who's not in a position where like I have a bunch of money, I mean, I attribute it to my belief in Christ, or wherever else in my life that I picked this up. But I'm fully aware that money doesn't solve everything. Yes, money can help alleviate stress and stressful situations, and you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. And there's a lot of things that money can alleviate. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to go through things. That doesn't mean that you're not going to have hardships in your life, in your relationships, in your friendships, in your health. And especially for somebody who's in the spotlight, for somebody who people know has a lot of money. How do you think how do you think he feels with the people around him? Maybe his friends are acting different. Maybe his family is acting different. Maybe his girlfriend, was acting different. Like, I don't know. I'm just giving these random examples, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like when you're in this position of not only being rich, but also being famous, you really have to question almost everyone around you. Are you here because you actually want to be my friend, or are you here because you hope I'm going to give you $10,000 for your birthday? Like all these little different things. And I just think it's something that, like, this is why we've seen so many bad things happen to a lot of people who are, again, we're speaking more like celebrities because of their status and their wealthiness. Why we've seen a lot of them, decide to take their life because they struggle with things And back in the day, they felt like they couldn't even come out and talk about it. So I couldn't even imagine how that feels. But now you have, a more open space in social media, and people come out and then they just get bashed. People come out talking about, oh man, I'm struggling inside. I'm feeling depression. I'm feeling anxiety. And people just bash them and just say, oh, well, my situation's worse, so your situation doesn't count, is basically what everybody is saying. And I'm just like, this is such a terrible place that we've gotten to in humanity. And the sad thing is that when something does happen, and God forbid, I pray for Kai and hope that he's doing all right and not, thinking of anything like that. But when something does happen, then it's like, oh, somebody should have done something. Somebody should have reached out. Somebody should have helped him. Somebody should have did this. But then when it's happening in real time, people don't care. They bash you. They tear you down. They tell you that they're right and you're wrong. And it's just such a sad thing to see. And I thought I honestly wanted to bring this up because I thought we had advanced a little bit as a society towards things like this. But it seems like we haven't, unfortunately. And maybe that's just the fan base also. I was reading a couple things, and a lot of people are like, that's kind of the fan base that Kai has, cultivated, is these fans who, like, they don't care. They're there for entertainment. They don't care about him as a person, as a human being. They care about him as an entertainer. And if he's not entertaining, then what am I getting for you? And that's a really sad thing. And I think that's something that the streaming era is cultivating in general. But really quick, I don't want to go on too long. So before I pass it over to Gabe, one of these quotes that Jim Carrey said that I think everybody should really, really, take with them is that I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything that they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer. Because people think fame, people think money, people think success, people think the spotlight is the answer to all their problems. And then you get it and you realize that you're the same person with the same struggles, with the same anxieties, with the same fears, with the same depression. And it doesn't change. You're still that same person. And so, I just think it's a sad place. And I think, again, that just highlights more of a reason why people need Jesus, in my opinion. But, yeah, that was just something I wanted to, touch upon. And
yeah, that was a completely different approach than I was going to take. What
Good,
I was
you
going
get
to
a different
say
approach.
is everyone talking about, oh, Kai, you have so much money. Someone mentioned about, like, he got money for a school that he never built. I don't know anything about that. So, like, like Tyler said,
yeah, that's
I'm not
the
like,
thing. Yeah.
I'm not a superstar. I don't know what's going on about, like, people holding grudges about certain things. But the ones that are like, oh my God, he has so much money, he needs blah, 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 blah. What? Shut up. Like, it's just as simple as that. Just stop talking. Like, you don't know what it's like. Just because you have money doesn't mean anything. Also, you don't know how much money he's actually making. You don't know how much taxes he is. You don't know how much bills he has. You don't know if people are suing him out the wazoo and he's paying settlements, losing all his money. You don't know nothing. Just because someone lives in a mansion, funny enough, just because someone lives in a mansion and has nice things and flaunts like they're rich does not mean they're rich. Am I saying Kai Cenat's not rich? No, I have no idea. But that's the thing. I have no idea. So, like, I think that's stupid. Like, money, mental health, like, no. Like, come on, leave it alone. Then I saw what more people were getting pissed about. Were like, is this a stunt? Because he's like, oh, follow my spam because I'm going to start posting some more stuff on there about, like, my creative things that I want to do, that I'm feeling passionate about. That account's going to go private soon, so whoever gets in, gets in. So then I think, like, that I understand a little bit more why people were talking a little bad because that, like, that kind of sets it up like, oh, interesting. Like, you just threw that out there. But also it could just be like, maybe he's just trying to see, like, who the real fans are. And then at the end of the day, it's his spam. It's not his main. Maybe that's his tester. Maybe he's like, oh, a little concentrated crowd. So I can be like, yo, do you like this content? Any feedback? I don't know. I have no idea. But it's also, that's what I'm saying. I have no idea. Was it a ploy? I don't know. Was it not? I don't know. So leave it alone. Like, at the end of the day, he said what he said. People are going to... I followed it because I'm curious. You know what I'm saying? So it worked, whatever his angle was. So it's just like, leave it alone. The dude's clearly going through something. He made a speech a couple days prior to that. Like, he won an award, and that's what he dedicated his award to. Not thank you for this, thank you for that. I love you guys. Like, focus on mental health. It's really important. Like, we need to be open about it. And then he goes and does that video. Clearly, he's going through something. Back up. Like, it's as simple as that. Just back up, give him some space, give him some time to breathe, and make sure he's good. Like, clearly, something's going on. So stop pushing it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, well, that's my thing is that, and I think that's the moral of the story is that people people were already jumping to wanting to contribute their negative comments before even knowing, right? Like, let's say he posted this today, a week later. Oh, we find out it was a scam to like markets better help or something like that. Okay, then you can start to have that open dialogue and that conversation of, why. But my thing is, when you jump on somebody when you literally have no idea, you're only using your projections and assumptions. Like, how is that bringing anything good to the situation? So my thing is, like, either just like, have your thoughts about it and move on, and like you don't have to like be on his page commenting on this hate. But I think it's just it's gonna continue to go that way, and people are gonna feel like they continuously can't come out anymore, about their about whatever. And without getting hate, because this goes for political, this also goes for, religious, this goes for
everything,
mental health, this goes for relationships, like it's all these different things. And so, let us know what you guys think below, what your thoughts are on that situation, and, how maybe we're missing something, maybe we're missing some context. But again, this was more of just like an overall type of conversation about that. So, yeah.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, send to your mother, brother, father, cousin. This episode, let us know all the stuff that Tyler was asking. Versus Chick-fil-A, and what did we just talk about? Cenat. What's your opinion? Sorry, and also, Happy New Year. And happy late Christmas. I'm glad that we're able to start off your new year with our last episode of the season.
Yeah,
that's pretty fire. Poetic.
It is, man. This is actually really cool. I don't think this is the first time that this has ever happened in however long we've been doing podcasts for now.
Yeah, so. Especially since we're literally recording on New Year's Eve.
And it's actually the ball's about to drop. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in this season. To you guys who have made it this far, we really appreciate you, and just hope to continue growing, continue expanding, and continuing to grow this podcast community each and every season,
Yeah, and my name is Gabriel, in case you forgot.
And I'm Tyler.
We'll see you next season.
Peace.
Peace.
Wait, we got a next season?
Catching Up podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up.
I don't necessarily know what that means.